Well, today we're adding a porch sign with a lemon theme to our front porch. It looks so nice for summer. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this one is to make. All right, off camera, I cut one of those, just a regular jumbo craft stick. They are, I don't know how long it was. I cut it to 6 inches long, and they're 3/4 of an inch long. This one has got, it's not completely straight, but it will be fine. So I want to start by, I sanded the ends just a bit where I cut it. I used my X-Acto miter box to do that with my miter saw. That way it was a little quicker than using my easy cutter. So we're going to paint this a nice crisp white using the apple barrel paint that Plaid sent me and one of the brushes they sent me. And I'm working on a piece of parchment because I'm doing several things at once, and I don't want to have to clean my work tile in between quite so many times today. So I'm keeping the painting mess, at least for this step, on here so I can work on getting some other things prepped. So I'm going to paint this, and then I'm going to let it dry. When it gets dry, I'll come back and see, did I paint? I should probably paint the back side too, because these do tend to warp if you don't. And I'm going to get a couple of toothpicks and lay it on top of. That way it won't stick. Now, the second coat of paint, you won't have to do the back, just the first coat. And I'm definitely going to have to repaint that. So, but you do want both sides wet at one time, otherwise, like I said, it can warp. If I need to, I'll put a second coat of paint on this, and when the white paint is ready, I will come back and we will work on our design. All right, the white paint is pretty dry, so I have some black. Also sent to me by Plaid with another one of those wonderful brushes they sent. For this, I just want to make a border. I don't want it to show a lot on the front side. I want just a crisp edge. And by painting from the back the way I am, I won't have as much of a tendency to mess up the front. If I do go off, it will most likely be on the back. And you can see this is a little bit warped, but not enough it'll make a difference. Oh, I just painted my tripod. I got a little bit of black paint over there that I didn't want, but that's okay. We can fix that later. All right. Let's see if I can just make a line, a very neat line. It doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. I'm okay if it's a little bit wobbly. If I wanted it perfectly straight, I would have taped. But since I've already gone over there, we're going to add a little bit to the front, all the way around. That way, it doesn't look like we made too big of an error, and then I'd have less to paint over to fix it. Well, I'm going to continue to edge this with a little bit of black, kind of a little bit of a weird line. When this is dry, I'll come back and we'll start adding our pretty part to the front of our sign. All right, so I decided while the black paint is drying, I'm going to work on the lemon slice that I'm going to use in place of the letter U in the word summer. So I thought about this for a long time, and if you've got a sticker of a lemon slice, that would be even better. A half lemon slice that's the right size would be so much easier. But we're going to do it this way. I have, first off, I have some white cardstock. This is the same cardstock that I use when I make the base for the cookie jars, and I use it for a lot of other stuff. It's just card making cardstock. And I have a circle gauge. And first I'm going to draw a light pencil line down my paper, because this will help me. Let's see, I think this is probably the straight side. Going to, and it doesn't have to be straight because it's just going to keep me lined up. And I'm actually going to do a couple of these. That way, if I mess one up, I will be able to hopefully get one good one out of here. So I'm using the 5/8 inch circle, and I'm going to, things I love about this is it's got these lines. And I have a yellow Bic marker. You use any yellow alcohol marker. We're actually going to trace the entire circle. And I'm going to do this, a couple of times here. Like I said, this is my insurance policy. This way, if I mess one up, I guess looks like I'll get 3. If I mess one up, hopefully I will have at least one that turns out. Now, if the lines don't look lined up from where you are, they look lined up from where I am, and that's all that counts, because I just need to have a halfway point. Now, I'm going to move over to the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to kind of eyeball centering it side to side, but I've got the line that I can, and we are going to do that. I tried using the 3/8 and it just looked too small. And if we lose some of our split between the two yellows, I can always go back and use my white paint when I go to do the segments. But because this is an alcohol marker, it won't be affected by the Mod Podge and all of that stuff. So this needs to dry. As it dries, the color will actually even out a little bit. Right at this point, I like this one the best because I've got a little more white space there. So we're going to let this ink dry. We're going to let our black paint dry. And when both of those are done, I'll show you what else I did off camera. Okay. All right, the other thing I did off camera is I decided to do my letters with my Cricut today. And then we're going to insert the lemon slice right there where the U would go. So if you don't have a Cricut, you can paint your letters just like we have on most of our signs. You could use stickers. Do the letters however you want. I decided I just wanted to use the Cricut this morning because it would just be a little easier. I didn't feel like doing the lettering. And I haven't done this on the Cricut for a while, so. And you guys know I've used the Cricut on other projects, kind of off camera. If you guys want sometime want a tutorial on how to use the Cricut for various projects for our dollhouse, let me know, and I can probably come up with something. So this is transfer tape. This is how you move all these letters in one group. And since this is a brand new piece of transfer tape, I put it against my skin. I don't want it too sticky because if it's really, really sticky, it could lift the paint on my sign. So I like to run it over my skin, and then I'll put the backing back on it, and I'll keep this piece and use it again. So I'm going to lay this on here. It just needs to be sticky enough to pick up those letters. And I did the weeding up, which means pulling off the excess vinyl off camera because that wasn't something you guys needed to watch. It was very frustrating. Just kind of rub it until it stays and picks up the letters. See there, it's going to pick up my letters. And if I wasn't lazy, I would get up and walk to the other end of my table and get the actual tool that's made for rubbing this down, but I use my thumbnail today. Try not to touch the back side of your letters, though, because you don't want to take any of the sticky off of them. Come on. And then I'm just going to lay it lightly on the shiny side of the backing for the transfer tape. Now you'll notice I've got a big split. I actually wrote the entire word summer on the Cricut and then in Design Space, and then I took out got it sized the way I wanted it, and then removed the letter U. That way I had all my letters and I locked them into place so they would be where I wanted them. So I'm going to let everything dry, and when everything's dry, I'll come back. We'll put the letters onto our sign. We'll put our lemon slice onto our sign and finish everything up. All right, off camera, I neatened up that paint a lot. And I want to show you something. This has warped really badly, and I think it's a combination of a couple of things. Number one, it's really hot and humid today. But I ended up having to do quite a bit of tweaking to this, so I was using my heat gun. And as I used my heat gun to dry it, I could see it warping the wood. That's one of the reasons I hate using a heat gun. So I just thought I'd put that out there. So be careful if you're going to use a heat gun. All right, now we do need to get this up off of the backing. And it might try to stick, the letters might try to stick, and that's okay. We can just make sure we're watching that the letters stay in place. I'm using the same dental pick that I use for my clay. Cricut does make a similar tool, but I don't have it. There we go. Come on. Don't want that letter to let go all the way, because the idea of the transfer tape is it keeps it lined up. I'm being careful to keep my, whoa, it moved. To keep my finger off of it, but okay. You know what? We will place that one by hand. I'm going to scoot it off because I would rather place it by hand than get it on the transfer tape crooked. Come on, let go, let go, let go. Okay. Yeah, you get to see me struggle. Nothing new in that. Come on, R, stay in place. I really only want to have to place one. Come on. There we go. Maybe. There we go. All right, so I'm just kind of calculating where the center of this is. All right, now. carefully and very slowly pull up the transfer tape off of your letters. Let's see, or where you want them. And that can go back on its carrier sheet, and it can be used a couple more times. So now let's get first this E into position. Well, that's where it wants to be, so that's what it's going to be. All right, now the next step I'm going to do is something that the people at Cricut don't necessarily recommend, but because I need Mod Podge to put this on, I'm going to put Mod Podge over my letters. It's interesting because I looked it up online to verify. The people at Cricut that make the products I'm using don't really recommend using Mod Podge over them that I can find. But the people at Silhouette, who are their direct competition, say that, oh, they've done it and it's fine, it works really well. And their products are very similar. So I'm going to go ahead and do it because, like I said, I need to attach my lemon wedge, my lemon slice. And this is removable matte vinyl. It's not a permanent vinyl because I didn't have any permanent in black. I thought I did, but it was all gone. I actually have a lot more vinyl in fabric vinyl, the iron-on, because that's what I do use my Cricut for mostly when it comes to vinyl. Whoopsie, come on, go where I want you to. Now in theory, because we use the alcohol ink, this will not run. Over just a tiniest bit. That's fine. Put a good coat, and since it's matte, I can put on a heavier coat, and I don't really have to worry about it remaining sticky. So I am going to let this dry. When it's dry, we'll come back, we'll put a few details onto our lemon slice, and then we'll be all done. All right, the Mod Podge is dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lines, and I decided to just use my dental pick, my dental tool that I used to pick that apart, because I don't think I have a paintbrush small enough to do this. And even this is a little bit fat. I might neaten that up with a Q-tip off camera, but you get the idea. I also have a very small brush because I do want to do just a little bit of there, touch up there. So I'm going to let that little tiny bit of paint dry. I'm going to fix that off camera, get that a little neater. I don't want it quite as heavy as that first one is. And then we're going to put a coat of satin Mod Podge on the whole thing, and then we can see how it looks. All right, my white paint is dry, so I have some satin Mod Podge here, some more of that Plaid sent me, along with another one of those lovely brushes. We're going to put a final coat of a satin Mod Podge. That'll just make this look nice and finished. I will talk in the blog post more about the warping that we got and my recommendations for what you can do to prevent it on yours. There are a couple of simple things I should have done in 2020 hindsight, but we all know how that goes. So I'm going to let this Mod Podge dry, and when it's all the way dry, I will move this over to the porch of the dollhouse, and we can see how it looks next to our little rug we made a few weeks ago. All right, there's our porch sign in place next to the front door on the dollhouse. I love how it turned out, even though it is warped. There are some things I should have done that would have prevented that or minimized it more. and I can maybe fix it. I haven't decided if I'm going to try or not. I will talk more about the warping and what I probably should have done. 2020 hindsight, had I realized how much this was going to warp, I would have done a few things differently. And like I said, I'll talk about that on the blog post. But I like how it turned out. Even though it is warped, I think it turned out really good. You can definitely paint the letters or use stickers if you don't have access to a Cricut. But I just felt like playing with my Cricut today. It's a little different. Let me know if you guys want some videos on making a few things with the Cricut for the dollhouse. I can probably put together a video or two on that in the future at some point. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see for your dollhouse? I'd love to get some input and make the projects that you want to see. If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, be sure and hit that subscription bell and the subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. It's been a long day. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.